Good evening, I'm back. I'm your host, Jack Remington of the Jack Remington NFL channel. Wild card weekend, first round of the playoffs. Exciting times. This is one of my favorite weekends of my life. I'm looking forward to this. And I got called into work. I got to work a swing shift and a graveyard shift. Hey, it's a nice problem to have. I'm going to do it. I made a commitment. I honor my commitments. That's what Jack Remington does. Last week, to make a real quick recap, last week I went 4 wins, 1 loss. The one loss to the stupid Raiders, had 9.5 points, and they were doing pretty well in the first 20 minutes of the game, and they stopped Kansas City, had them deep in their territory. And then on like 3rd and 8, they almost sacked Mahomes in the end zone for a safety, but he gets out of it and gets probably to the 3-yard line, and then they pump it, and there's a penalty, 15-yard penalty, and the Chiefs get the ball close to the 20, and then they wind up scoring, and I think the Raiders defense just quit. Josh McDaniels, I should have known better, and I even said so in the video that against one better judgment. I don't say that when I make every pick, but I listen to other handicappers who I really respect and have better records than I do, and they were all on the Raiders. That should have told me something. There's so many were on the Raiders. That should have told me. D-Man Westgate style contest. For Fish saying, I want to congratulate him for running another great contest. If I'd placed in the money, I would have given him something. He did post the final results. I didn't make it. Lucas 31 got 57 right. That's a pretty good score. He got the $5,550 first prize. A Big Dog got 56 right, 2,500. This Kai Cal 15 got 54.5 right. 1,000. I mean, these guys did very well. I mean, I'm proud of these guys. I was glad I was able to compete against these guys. Easy Reader got 53. Well, it was a tie for 5th place. Easy Reader and Shootuit, they both got 53.5. They both got split. Well, no, it's 1, 2. There's 3 players, and G Money 0284. They all split $66.67, 66 cents. So he's got 11 places on the screenshot. I'll put it on the video here. But Teddy G and Bilbo 0835 got 51.5. I got 50 right. So I know I finished in the top 15 somewhere, or higher. So that's okay. It was fun. I'll try again next year. I might do 2 entries next year. We'll see. But I want to congratulate Fish saying he ran a great contest. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. Put the screenshot down, and here's the pregame copycat contest. There's my Spaceman. Here's my 50. But I wanted to put another screenshot up here to show you. If you look at the top, this is the week 18, and you have to scroll down to the spreadsheet. This is a Google file, whatever it's called, Docs, the Google Docs. I just want to make sure you also saw the week 18 out here. Okay, wild card weekend. Now, let me put a screenshot up here, and we'll talk about what I did first, and then we'll get to the games. Okay, so I did this. It looks like the 13th, as early as crack of dawn this morning when I got home from work, 3 o'clock a.m. So I got off of work at, I was supposed to go for 12:30. I had an intruder in the parking lot. That took a while. I didn't get home till like 2. And by the time I puss around and let the dog out, do this, do that. So this is what's monitored picks that are documented. You can't fix this. I mean, I don't know how to fix this if there's any kind of shenanigans with this inaccurate information I've been accused of. The first 5 picks that I'm playing for myself, anything you see on here, and this is for me. Entertainment only, units only, okay? I took Jaguars plus 2.5, Dolphins plus 13, Giants plus 3, Bengals money line minus 450, the Cowboys money line minus 435. Now we'll get to the Cowboys in a second. The other thing I did a little bit later that I want to talk about first, at 3:05 a.m., I'll make sure I put this whole thing up here. 3:05.41 a.m. I did 5 more picks for the wild card weekend. NFL totals under in Seattle, San Francisco 42. NFL size Jaguars plus 2.5. NFL totals under Los Angeles Chargers, Jacksonville 47.5. I will skip the 4th one. I was talking about the 5th one first. I'll go back to the 4th one. Over Miami, Buffalo 43.5. But the 4th one, Dolphins. Oh, what happened here? Where's my money line pick? I have a money line pick. I took Dolphins on the money line. Money line, Dolphins plus 625 for 100. I thought I had it on here, but I was so tired last. Yeah, I didn't have it, but I have it now. Topic starter, Windy City Warrior. Topic, you don't have the balls to bet it. Miami plus 14, Miami money line plus 650. Buffalo is and always will be the biggest chokers in the NFL. I'll let you recall the heartbreakers over the years. Go Fins. He's got a great Major League Baseball. I mean, this guy's a kick-ass baseball bettor. Almost $4 grand all the time. I mean, baseball run line, the juice is so high. That's why I stopped baseball 40 years ago. It's hard to beat. I don't know that much about it anymore. AWR 1051. You are right. I didn't have the balls bet Miami money line. Well, guess what? I did. I did bet it. I got the what's to bet it. I bet it yesterday, but if I didn't, I just now had to fix it. Check my pick. Spaceman won. So okay. So let's get to the picks. This is what you're here for. Let me preface this. I get up this morning to come in the office and make this video, and what do I see? Dallas Cowboys defensive end, some chatterhead. Arrest warrant issued for Dallas Cowboys defensive end days before playoff game against Tom Brady's Buccaneers. It's the first thing that comes across my feed. This is the first news thing. Gotta get a whole big. I must get 150 a day from my other NFL channels and my news channel. This is the very first one. Will Dallas Cowboys star facing arrest warrant be available against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Well, it doesn't really say. I mean, more of this journalistic malfeasance is now spreading to the sports world, and I'm gonna deal with that, but not today. Okay, well, let's get to the lines first. We got the first game, and keeping the rotational order by the order that they're going to be playing. Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. The current line, I'll talk about this, the current line. 49ers minus 9.5. Next game is the Chargers at the Jaguars, and it's Chargers minus 2.5. The next game is the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills, and the current line I got here 13.5. There's two games tomorrow, the Seattle Chargers on the 15th, Sunday, Miami at Buffalo. The New York Giants at the Vikings. It's Giants plus 3, but now they're stacking up a lot of juice. Right now, on the screenshot I have right now, it's live. It's minus $1.14 if you want to take the Giants plus 3. When I first fired this thing up, it was minus 120. But I'll talk more about the line line value later for different sites, online, offshore, in Vegas, and everywhere else. On the 15th, the last game is the Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati Bengals. Right now, it's Baltimore plus 9. So the Bengals minus 9. That line's climbing. Monday's game, the Dallas Cowboys, minus 2.5 is announced at $1.15 juice. They're at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The top NFL public bets, I'll leave the screenshot up here. Buffalo by far. 76% of the money is coming in on the Bills. 73% on the Bengals. 65% on the 49ers. So I got a bad cold. I'll talk about, if I remember, I'll talk about that in a bit. I was helping a lady move a tree stuck in the road. I was trying to go to work. That big rainstorm we had here. The worst I've seen in California. I've been here 30 years. The worst I've ever seen it. The Bucks, 59% of money. Chargers, 54%. The Giants, 53% of money. So the Giants, Minnesota's almost 50-50. There's no real edge you can find there. But it was 51-49. A little more money's coming on the Giants, but not much more. But the one game that has not changed is the Dallas Cowboys game here. Even though I see this report about this guy here facing an arrest, he did a hit and run or whatever he did. If you go down to www.vegasinsider.com, and I'm only going to do one screenshot because I don't want to waste a lot of time on this. But there's been some. If you look at this one strange site that the guy told me about a couple of days ago, I talked to him on the phone. It's not that I didn't believe the guy. The guy's a very credible person. He's a formidable handicapper. But under the line movements of the Miami Dolphins Buffalo Bills game, Vegas Insider, it's got MGM, it's got Rivers line movements, it has Cedar Sportsbook line movements, it has FanDuel's line movements, it has PointsBet line movements, and here's the one I have to start taking a hard look at. I mean, I didn't know anything about this. SI, because Sports Illustrated Sportsbook. And I got it right here, and I'm going to put the screenshot up here. I'm going to do it right now. It opened at Buffalo minus 6.5, but it's minus 200 juice to bet this game. So, yeah, you can get a good deal, but you're paying 200% juice. And I understand that, what the guy told me, he did this. 10 minutes later, it was Buffalo minus 8.5, then it was 10 minutes later, Buffalo minus 10.5, then it was going up and up and up. And for every one of these playoff games, you can get the kind of deal you're looking for, but you may have to pay a lot of juice for it. So enough of that. Now let's get back to the games. Just for heck and giggles, I even give predicted scores. So not that it means all that much, but it's just this is the fun part. So wild card weekend, I was able to do 2 games for notes. The rest of the memory, I scribbled real quick here. So Seattle at San Francisco minus 9.5. My prediction is San Francisco's going to win the game, but Seattle's going to cover this game. It's going to rain. I mean, we had one of the worst rains I've ever seen in Southern California since I've been here. And the 101 north from Ventura to Santa Barbara was closed, so I couldn't get up there. Every route was blocked off by the police and whatever blockade. They had little blockades everywhere and barriers. And so, okay, so I thought it was going to be slick. I was going to go to Ohio up to 33 North and then just cut through one of those side streets. And I went to a coin show about 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And it was an obscure road, and I just remember that road, and I knew if it was sitting on the left, and I had to wait for it, and I turned it. And now my car's starting to not do really well. There's more and more water. There was a white SUV in front of me with an old lady with an umbrella, and she's shivering. And it's either her son or her husband or grandson. Big. I mean, he literally must have been 6'7" or higher, bigger, 350 pounds of, white redneck muscle. Big old scruffy looking ugly beard. Looked like he hadn't taken a bath till it started raining. And they're trying to move this tree that fell off the road. And it wasn't a very big tree, but it was long enough, and they couldn't pass. Now I'm waist deep. I'm out of my car. I'm walking towards the road where the tree's at. Now I'm in waist deep water. I'm thinking I can't get through this with my car, and it's raining so hard you can hardly see. And I said, well, let me try. And he goes, oh man, go back. I can't get it. What makes you think you can? Well, I did. I was able to move the tree, and it took everything I had. I gave it with every mighty lift I could get. I got it. And he looked at me, and she said, well, thank you. And she was offering, and he pushed her car, and I'm pushing her car, and they finally got some traction and got on the asphalt part of the road, and they were on their way. So hey, good for me, right? I went to turn around. I see the cops' lights. It says, hey, you need to get out of here. Roads are closed. We can send you a bill for $1,800. Like, we got 26 people in line for rescue. Thank you. And I was on my way. So I had to miss 2 days of work. And I caught a bad cold when I was out there in that rain like that. So forgive me for that. So it's going to rain this Sunday. And if you look on the weather report for this Frisco Seattle Seahawks game, that's going to slow the game down. And now, the 49ers, they just don't do well in the rain. Look at their opener last year when they were in Chicago. And Chicago beat them, 19-10 or 19-12, whatever it was. They're a team speed type of team. They don't do well. But the Seahawks, they play in the rainforest up there in Seattle at the Superdome. I mean, that's their personality. They play in bad weather. So I think the edge for physicality for the rain gives Seattle an edge. So, but what worries me about this game is that the 49ers, their pass defense has sprung some leaks. Now, Teddy Covers on his pregame.com and wagertalk.com, whatever it's called, he pointed out something that I'd almost forgotten about. They got burned 6 times this year for 50 yards or over on their 49ers pass defense. Okay, that's more than the 2020 and 2021 seasons combined. You got to get back add another year in the 2019 season before you find another where you can get 6 more passes like that. So their pass defense, they can be beat. So that gives Geno Smith a puncher's chance. And George Foreman, Bernie Shavers, I'm going to punch down. I'm going to punch down on you. And we're the 49ers are a finesse team. The Ali with the jab, Larry Holmes with the jab, Ken Norton with his rope-a-dope and everything. And I know 49ers beat them twice. I understand that. But didn't the Seattle cover one of those games? I think they did. And it was a backdoor cover. So that worries me about a game like this. Really 9.5 and an open 11, right? What worries me about this game is also the Brock Purdy pumpkin time. They're trying to make a hero out of this guy, Mr. Irrelevant, the 7th draft pick. They're trying to make him another Tom Brady. He ain't another Tom Brady. I mean, I know for sure, on his first start ever, he threw one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen. But it was called back due to a penalty. And then the guys at work said he did something else stupid that game too. And it was called back because of a penalty. So he got saved twice that game. He got saved once in his next game. He could turn into a pump. And they're both NFL starts as a playoff team cornerbacks, as both Geno Smith and Brock Purdy. But Geno Smith's got 8 years experience in the NFL. I like his chances over Brock Purdy, quarterback versus quarterback. Coaching matchup. I think Pete Carroll's way head over heels over Shanahan, but all these young guys, the guys at work, they all Shanahan's a genius. He's a genius, okay? And you've heard me on the other videos. I just don't trust this guy. He doesn't know how to close out games, and he makes bad clock decisions. He burns timeouts when he should be saving them and stuff like that. I think Pete Carroll's head over heels better coach, and he may outcoach Shanahan here. So I'm giving a final prediction score: San Francisco 19, Seattle 13. Go to the next game. Chargers -2.5 at Jacksonville. This was all over the place, and all the other sites on the Vegas Insider. It opened Jacksonville -1.5, and then it was Pick'em the -1. But right now, and when I made my bets, it's Chargers -2.5. So the Chargers do one thing really well, and that's Justin Herbert to whoever he can find open. I mean, I can't say enough good things about that guy. If he stays healthy, he puts on a few more pounds, and gets more experience, he's going to be tough to deal with, and hopefully he'll be around for a long time. But the Chargers, they can't stop the run, and they're just so-so against the pass. Their special teams are so-so, and Bosa and a couple of Mike Williams, wide receiver, got hurt in this meaningless game last week. They're locked in the 5th seed. Who are they playing? The Broncos. This Los Angeles Chargers head coach Staley. His clock management's bad. He wastes timeouts. He does so-so on challenges. He challenges when he should, and he doesn't challenge when he should. He goes for it on 4th down way too much. He's very unpredictable. But does he know the value of a healthy team heading to the playoffs? Let's talk about the playoff mentality really quick. Number one, you want the healthy team going in. Number two, you don't want a tired, worn-out team going in. Okay, I think the Chargers are both. I think they're banged up, and I think they're tired. Jim Mora used to take the tired Colts teams to the playoffs. They never won a playoff game. Rotate your players in and out. See, that's something Bill Belichick is actually pretty good at. And he learned it from Bill Parcells. He better be glad that the old man Irsay, the former Baltimore Colts, the Indianapolis Colts, is not the owner of this team. Because instead of the Spanish family, who I think is just clueless about football, the old man Irsay would have walked down on the sideline at halftime and fire Staley on the spot. And remember, Irsay did this once as the Baltimore Colts owner, and I had it in a couple of videos ago. And now let's talk about Jacksonville's coach, Doug Peterson. He took a nothing Philadelphia Eagles did and won the Super Bowl, beat by Tom Brady, didn't he? I just think Doug Peterson is a better coach than Staley. Herbert, the quarterback, is better than this Trevor Lawrence. Now you could tell by watching it, Trevor Lawrence in the Jacksonville game with at Tennessee. We had Tennessee points, and we're lucky. We're glad we got the win. But you could tell the newscasters and the graphics, and it was showing everything was about Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville. They're pimping that team something terrible. And you could tell they wanted to win really badly, showing bias that they shouldn't be showing if they're going to do public broadcasting. The Jacksonville D is playing a little better. The defense is playing earlier than the first. They had a 10-game disappearance where there was no defense at all. And not much of they were last in pass rush in the NFL last until recently. So now they finally got a couple of guys putting more quarterback hits and getting a couple more sacks. But there was a 10-game stretch they didn't do anything, or did very little. The Los Angeles Chargers D's not looking that good at all, but they're injured on top of it. If Bosa doesn't play, that's bad for the Chargers. That's good for Jacksonville. So we took Jacksonville. And this Staley guy, he's the what they call the new coach type, young nerd type coaches. And I'm hoping there's somebody out there that can confirm this. If you're ticket season holders, there was a strange email sent to a lot of the ticket holders saying, how can the NFL improve their product, and any coverage you'd like to see? We're open to any suggestions. I guess they were doing bad, or I don't remember the exact gist of this. But I do remember a lot of the responses from female ticket holders saying, well, let's go to the youth movement. Well, that's something that these modern liberal women would say. And so the NFL got together at their owners' meeting, and they have a little fest in Hawaii and a couple times a year, and they say, let's go ahead and go with the youth movement. Let's start around some young guys. They hire Sean McVay. He was 31 years old. Now, he was either the second youngest or the youngest coach ever hired in the NFL. I think John Madden was 33, I think. And they started hiring all these young guys, and so they started calling them the coaching nerds. Kind of making them fashion after the big tech guys in Silicon Valley here in California. And I'm not saying that they're bad coaches, although I do think some of them are bad, and some of them should be caught with a clipboard in their hand. And this Staley's one of them for the Chargers. He's one of them. This guy, and your boy, what's his name, Shanahan, what's his name, son, Shanahan's son. I'd have fired him on the spot for blowing a Super Bowl against Kansas City a few years ago, but that's me. He's got the name pedigree. His father was a successful head coach, and yada, yada, yada. But he's only going to go so far. And until the 49ers get rid of this guy, They may make a lot of noise. I picked them to be the top team in the NFC this year, but they won't beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Trust me. Staley, he never considered the possibility. Maybe I might need to win this game to get out of playing Jacksonville. Now, why would you want to get out of playing Jacksonville? Because Jacksonville slonkered them 38-10 in week 3. That was the biggest money line bet I made in years, and I won it. And I talked about it on the video before I did it, and I put it up there on all my videos when I did it. Talked about it. So I'm taking Jacksonville again. I think a lot of the Chargers are a very formidable team. Patch a couple things up and get some run stuffers on the defense. Fix your special teams. They could make a lot of noise. They could be a true Super Bowl contender. But until they get rid of Staley and until they plug in those holes I just talked about and keep Bosa healthy, they're not going to go anywhere. They're in a bad division that fell apart. The Broncos and the Raiders. So my predicted score is Jacksonville 41, the Chargers 31. Next game, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. My predicted score, I got Miami 27, Buffalo 23. I just think that this Skylar Thompson is the real deal. I thought he looked pretty good when he came in for Teddy Bridgewater, the Patriots, the other week. I thought he looked pretty damn good. And, he's a bum. He's blah, blah. He ain't going. And a few weeks ago, all I heard from all the pundits, and some of them admitted they got it wrong. Buffalo's going to destroy Miami. It's snowing. It's cold. And Miami's a hot weather team, which I understand that they are. But you have to remember, 95% of all your football players are from the South and Southwest anyway. The cold hurts everybody. The exception is Josh Allen because he played Miami for 3 years. And his sleet storms, the hail hitting him in the eyes. So he got used to it. He's probably the best player in the NFL to play in that kind of weather. And Miami had a big lead on them in the middle of the fourth quarter. I thought they would win that game. And Buffalo got 10 points and to pull a 3-point win on them. I'm here to tell you, Miami could have won that game. They actually should have won that game. They could have swept Buffalo this year. They beat them down there in week 2, week 3, where it was, 21-19, and they should have beat Buffalo at Buffalo, but they didn't. But they covered. Probably wrong on this too, but I'm going to bet it. I bet the money line. I got Miami plus 13.5. I didn't put them on any of my teeters because I did terrible on teeters last week. 2 wins, 4 losses. Okay, let's talk about the next game. New York Giants at Minnesota Vikings. That was 51-49. Now it's 53-47. A little bit more money's coming in on the Giants, but not a whole lot more. My predicted score for the Giants game is I got New York Giants 26, Minnesota 21. I think Giants are going to play them tough. The Giants they've got the better defense. Saquon Barkley's still pretty healthy. He might be the comeback player of the year, in my opinion. I think both these teams are the false record teams. But once they make the playoffs, they make the top 14 teams in the NFL. One of them is not going to be a false record team. One of them's going to win and continue. Then they'll get beat the next week, maybe. Maybe this thing about the false record needs to be reevaluated. And you may have to eat some of that back, take some of those words back. The Vikings are 11-0 in one-score games, something like that. But the Giants, at the beginning of the season, I have a video up either week 1 or week 2 where the Giants had the easiest schedule based on the other year's results. So when you see the guys on these respected handicappers who, I'm not knocking them, they're talking about the Jeff Saggart rankings. The guy is correct with everything he said except the application of the Jeff Saggart rankings. Do you use the rankings at the beginning of the season, like I did, or do you use them now after the season's been played? And so he doesn't have the Giants as having the easiest schedule. He's got the 49ers or someone else. I forgot. I have to watch it again. But and that's good and fine. I hope he can make it work for him. But it doesn't work for me. I'm using stuff that I got from the beginning of the year, and then for next year I'll use what happened now. And playoffs don't count. I'm talking about regular season only. Based on that, the Giants is a good matchup. But what they're doing now, they're jacking up the juice, and I just saw it before for a minus 120 juice to take the Giants now. They're pushing the juice now. They don't want to get off the 3 to 3.5, 4, because they don't want to get middle like the Miami Buffalo game and the Cincinnati game. The points keep going up and up and up to Lamar Jackson. So we'll talk about that game next. Cincinnati didn't look too good last week when they played Baltimore. Baltimore's got this third-string quarterback, and I never saw him before. He's okay. Not as good as Skylar Thompson from Miami. That I can tell you. My predicted score, I got Cincinnati 23, Baltimore 21 in the dogfight. I'm predicting the dogfight here. I think Baltimore's defense, they signed that big-ass guy. Oh, God, that big beast in week 8 or week 9. I mean, he's just a one-man wrecking crew, this guy. Joe Burrow better be careful. John Harbaugh is the second tenured coach in the NFL behind Belichick now. John Harbaugh's got some few tricks up his sleeves, too. There's been some, watching the blogs and the chat boards and chat rooms and everything. Oh, Cincinnati didn't show anything. Well, neither did Baltimore. I mean, they're waiting to see what's going to happen to Lamar Jackson. It was ruled out yesterday that he's not going to play. But the fact that he's not playing is a moot point, but I'll make it anyway. If Lamar Jackson plays, they could win this game. They could actually beat Cincinnati, and they can beat Kansas City. They could get to the Super Bowl if Lamar Jackson was Lamar Jackson of old. But he's not playing, so it's a moot point. So maybe I shouldn't have made the moot point. So let's talk about the last game. I already made one thing on my pregame.com. I can't change it. I could do what I've done before in the past, but on very rare occasions, go back and make another bet and just go back the other way. But my predicted score before this morning was Dallas Cowboys 38, Tampa Bay 27. There's a lot of people taking Tampa Bay, but stuck at 59% versus 41. So let's say 60-40 split. That's shading the Bucks as a public home dog in the playoffs. They're 8 wins, 9 losses. They're a sub 500 team. There's been precedent where this team has won before, where it was the Seattle Seahawks was 7-9 in a 16-game schedule, and they had to host the 12-4 New Orleans Saints. I mean, they couldn't get past the 49ers. The 49ers beat them twice. So they were the division winner instead of New Orleans Saints was a wild card team with Drew Brees, and they had these beasts of players for offense. Seattle got like a 27-7 lead, and then here comes the Saints. Zing, zing. They came back and won that game. I mean, it's a good on the Seattle Seahawks 7-9 team. They got trounced in the next week by somebody, but there's a couple of games like that where the home bad record team. The Chargers were 8-8, and here comes the Indianapolis Colts. They were 11-5 or 12-4. I'm pretty sure they were a wild card team, so it must have been somebody that had a really great year ahead and made them travel. And the Chargers won that game in overtime. It happens, but this year, and they're saying, well, Tom Brady this, and Tom Brady's got Mike Evans back. Dallas Cowboys has one thing that is kryptonite to Tom Brady. Now, do you know what that is? It's a pass rush. Those ghosts of years past keep haunting me when they set the straight hand Justin Tuck loose on Tom Brady. He sacked him 5 times, pressured him 15 more times. That was a dogfight Super Bowl, and it was the biggest bet I lost in my life. It's what most people in this country make in a year. And I never forgot that game. I didn't sleep for 3 days, and it was a bad bet. And it was a money line. All the Patriots had to do was win the goddamn game. I knocked off the 14 points. Just win the game, and they couldn't even do that. They were winning the whole game for 59 minutes until the last 35 seconds. And that's good and fine. But Tom Brady's kryptonite is the pass rush. And what do the Cowboys have? They have a pass rush. Until I wake up this morning, this clown's going to be watching the game, and next thing, here comes the cops and arrest them on the sidelines. What does this do to a team? What does this do to a team? So I already made the scores. I already told you on the video what it is, and I'm not going to change it. I'm sticking with it. I mean, I'm still taking the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not knocking my man Tom Brady, but I think I'll say this on the video. You save this video for yourself. This is his last game for the Bucks. Win, lose, or draw. They can't win the Super Bowl with this team. Their offensive line is just terrible. They have virtually no running game anymore. They stopped running the ball. I think their coaching staff is terrible. Their special teams are not that good. I'm going to say this thing while I got the video. If that New Orleans Saints guy goes 6 inches the other way and gets that first down, we don't even talk about Tampa Bay. I think Carolina wins this division with a 6-10 record or 6-11 record or wherever it is. They don't have a chance to come back and get just 2 touchdowns to beat the Saints by 1 point. McCarthy's an experienced coach. If he just get that defensive line fired up and the momentum starts to carry, if you know anything about football. Look at the game against the Colts. They were 21-19 going into the fourth quarter. It was a dogfight. But once they started sacking Matt Ryan, started sacking the quarterbacks and stuffing for yards lost behind the line of scrimmage, and then next to the pick 6 here and knocked the ball down. Once the defense got into it, that pass rush started taking off. They were unstoppable. But they hung 31 points on them in the fourth quarter or something like that. I mean, they just destroyed them. And Dallas has done that a couple of times to other teams. And it's in the fourth quarter if they get the team fired up. And I know they're on grass, but I still think that Dallas has got the better team speed. They got the better talent overall, other than Tom Brady and Mike Evans. I think the better coaching staff, they got everything except Tom Brady and Mike Evans. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with my Dallas Cowboys pick, but I was pissed off. I was disappointed I got the stupid thing about the guy facing the arrest. All right. Because I won 2 wins, 4 losses last week with my teasers, and one of them was an 8-pointer, minus $140 juice. That hurts. So I had 7 teasers this week, but I scratched 3 of them. I'm only going to do 4. Because when I do bad like this on a certain aspect of the handicapping, I cut it back until I get the groove going again. So let's go over some of the teasers I got picked out here. 8-point teaser. So I get to knock off the points here, and I normally don't play it this way, but in the playoffs you have to. So I got San Francisco minus 1.5, and I got Cincinnati minus 1.5. Okay, I'll repeat it. 8-point teaser. Cincinnati minus 1.5. San Francisco minus 1.5. You're laying $1.40 to win 100, so it's big juice. Second 8-point teaser. San Francisco, Seattle under 50. Jacksonville plus 10.5. Second teaser, I'll repeat it. San Francisco, Seattle under 50. Jacksonville plus 10.5. Teaser number 3. Miami, Buffalo over 36. New York Giants plus 10. 7-point teaser, minus $1.35 juice. Miami, Buffalo over 36. New York Giants plus 10. And the 4th teaser, the last teaser, 7-point teaser. Dallas, Tampa Bay over 37. Now I think Tom Brady's going to zing them some more, and because they're going to lose a pass rusher. And Miami plus 20.5. So 7-point teaser, $1.35 juice to win 100 units. Dallas, Tampa Bay game over 37. Miami plus 20.5. So there it is. I know if I did it now, I'd get Miami plus 21. Or if I did another 8-point teaser, I could get it to Miami plus 22. The line just went up again, half a point. But that's okay. What I read here, that's what I got it set at. That's what it is. So there you have it, folks. Sorry about my bad cold. I should have made the video. I should have done graphics, but have fun. See you next week. Always try to be American. Long live the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr. gets kicked off a plane. And these guys, I mean, you're hurting your product when you act like that. Okay, grow up. Okay, grow up. Thank you, players. See you next video. Good night.